Hello, I'm Lumer Sunil and welcome back to the channel. Last time we worked with tile maps, so now we are able to define tile maps, we are able to draw tile maps, and we are also able to generate ground collision for the tiles based on their tile type. Now in between we actually made a tile map editor and the videos are up for that, so you can go ahead and watch that if you want. It has basic functionality. I'm gonna show a bit in this episode as well, but we can use that to define simple tile maps. And this time we are going to adjust our game code to be able to load these Tilemap JSON files and basically do everything as we did before, except now we're reading from the JSON instead of defining through those strings that we had before. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's actually do this. Let's go to our scene or load here, and we'll actually add this in here. So we'll add string hash map with type. I guess this is a pointer to a tile map. There. Now we should have that, and let's go into init level now. So we need to scrap all this, but I'm gonna keep this old thing here. But what I'm gonna do is get our tile map container, which is a string hash map. Oops, I should probably put this into a const so it doesn't. Let's put it here. So tile map container is equal to this. Okay, so we'll get our tile map container. I think, yeah, now we need to load in the file, the tile map. So tile map container, and we will put, and I think we'll just say, so what's, yeah, just village, I guess we could do. And then the value is going to be tile map from file. And now we can specify the file name here. Yeah, and the file name is just going to be, I guess, village. So let's do village.tilemap.json. Okay. Now we should have that. We need to also, I guess we can catch the reachable there. All right, so now we should have loaded in. Yeah, we need to catch unreachable. Let's actually do this. So village tilemap stat, and we'll put that in there. Okay, so yeah, so now we should actually have this loaded in and ready for use. So we don't really need this symbol map, and we don't need all this. Then, oh, here's already a string hash map tilemap. Oh yeah. So we don't need this, and we don't need this. Oops, we don't need that. Okay, so actually, yeah, so this is, we can call this tile maps, doesn't matter. And we'll get the pointer, and this is going to be the village. Okay. Well, we actually don't really need to store it since we only use it here, I guess. Wait. What's happening? So, yeah, this is the village tile map. So yeah, I guess we don't really need to keep the tile map around since we actually create entities from it directly and then we just don't really need it. So what we could do is we could say, well, yeah, we don't actually need this container. Oh, texture container we don't need. Well, actually, the text, no, we don't need a texture container, yeah. But we don't need to put it in a time map container. But I think we want to have that in the future because we want to have different time maps and then we want to decide which time map are we going to use. And I think that what we could do is we could make a function called init time map level or init level time map or something. We'll pass in a time map here and we'll do everything that is in here. So we'll get that. Yeah, we'll do this. So this is everything that's needed to create the tile map. Oh yeah, this is going to be tile map. And then change this back. Okay, there we go. So now we have a separate function for this. Okay. And now we just need to call this, so init level time map. And we just pass in the village time map here. Okay. Okay, so now we can do this. So now the only thing, yeah. Okay, so here we are in the tile map editor that I made. And yeah, it's really, really basic, but I'll just show you here. So we have, you can open and save file. You can, you have one tool right now, which is the brush, where you can basically paint tiles on here. And you can left click to paint and right click to delete the tile. You can set what tile you want to use. And yeah, that's basically it. And it's hard coded right now to use this tile set that I have here. So I'm just gonna build out this village here and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is the I mean, it's kind of basic, but I just want something to yeah, something to show here. So let's now save this. And you won't be able to see this dialog here in the recording program, but it opens up the native file selection dialog, so that's pretty nice. And I'll navigate to my game folder and I will save this as village.tilemap.json. Okay, so let's get back to the code. Okay, so let's try launching this. Cross our fingers. All right, so there's something wrong with this reader setup here. I'm just gonna check this. Okay, so the file reader, this one, does not need to be like this. So let's try that. Okay, so something is crashing here. Okay, so it seems we have a type mismatch of the JSON. So I'm just gonna check the type here. Okay, as you can see here, when we save the file, we actually save this type. And this type is basically the same thing. We have a tile map, but the tile map is inside a struct and called tile map. So I have to actually create this same structure in the other code as well. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, so here's our struct for saving and or yeah, opening a JSON file. So let me use that instead now. Actually, you know what? Let's change this to a pointer actually. Yeah, the thing is, we don't need this structure, the JSON structure. So I'm gonna just create this as a pointer here, because then we can pass the pointer around and we can do away with this container type. So once we've got the JSON here, we can actually do allocator. I believe this is correct. So we can destroy the JSON and we can grab the tile map from the JSON like that and then just return that. So we destroy the JSON, but we don't destroy the pointer that's inside JSON. We just destroy the JSON container. So I believe this should work now. Okay, so we got another crash. Okay, let me just check the types here again. It might, you know what? It might be the array list unmanaged thing. I'm gonna check the JSON file here. So here you can see the JSON file, and actually, yeah, the way that we store this, you can see this tiles field here is a bit slow because it's displaying this large file, but this tiles array just keeps everything in, and this looks nice from a JSON perspective, you know. But this is not actually the way an array list unmanaged is stored, because array list unmanaged has a field called items, which is the one that is actually stored here. So that is what is going to be stored as well. Yeah, but anyway, I believe this is the issue. So we have like a mismatch in the structure of the file. So I think what I'll do is I'll change the type in the tilemap editor. However, by doing that, I actually need to modify the JSON file directly. Okay, so I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're in the code for the editor, and what I need to do here is I have this JSON array list that is basically a wrapper around array lists, unmanaged, and it's serializable because it has special functions for parsing and stringifying to and from JSON. But I think that we just changed this to be array list unmanaged instead. And then let's import that. Oh, I guess we can say the same thing here. And this one has another way of initializing here. We could do initialize capacity, but I believe I want to have this type or this value copied a bunch of times. So what I will do is I will use init buffer, and this one does not need an allocator, and this tile. So what you can do is you can do this, I believe, and then you multiply it, sort of. This is basically a shorthand for initializing an array. Yeah, it sort of multiplies the elements inside of this list X amount of times. So this is the amount of times that we actually do that. I wonder if I can get rid of this int cast now. And then we actually don't need the allocator here as well. Okay. Okay, so we actually now, yeah, this one is items instead. That's still the same. This one, we can do this now. Okay, that should be good now. Okay, yeah, so this doesn't work because these need to be comp time known if we're gonna do this kind of thing. Okay, so in situations like this, you need a little bit more complex initialization logic. Well, what you can do is you can do this. You can actually make a block here, and you need a label, and you can, let's say we have this array list, and then we actually do, to return this array list from the block, you can do break, and then you pass the label that you want to break to, and then the array list, the value that you want to have. So then this entire block will be sort of that value. So that's a really nice way that you can like insert a bunch of logic into this initialization context here. So yeah, let's do now, instead of that, we'll do init capacity. And yeah, it's going to be this. I think this is a U size, so we do need... Okay, so now we need the allocator. The allocator, okay. All right, so once we have this array list, we need to basically just populate it with empty tiles. So I'll just loop through the entire thing here. Actually, let's store this part in a length variable here. And then we'll go through each one. We don't actually need this. Oh, well, we could. So there's two ways you can do this loop. Either you can loop through like this, or you can do array list dot... I'm not getting this. Oh, this needs to be catch unreachable. So this is items, and then you get an item, but you need to do star here to get the pointer to the thing. And then you can say this is equal to a tile. Yeah, or you can do that. You can do 0 to length, get the index, and then you do array list items, and then index is equal to type. That also works, but let's do it like this because it's Siggy. Okay, so int cast, yeah, this needs to be a U size. Okay. And then we don't actually need this in a separate, but yeah, that looks better, I guess, anyway. Okay, so yeah, we need to add allocator back to everywhere here. Okay, I just realized that, yeah, we initialized the capacity, but the underlying slice, like the array list dot items, this one is actually just a slice with length 0 to begin with. So we actually need to use the append. Oh, yeah, we can use append n times, actually. Let's do that. Append n times. We should have the capacity for it, so that's not an issue. Let's say value is going to be this, and n is just going to be length. Okay, so that should actually now populate it properly. And I think you need to catch this as well. And this apparently needs array list to be modifiable. So, oops. We need to change this from a constant var. Okay, there we go. But now the issue remains that we cannot actually open this file now. I'll show you. And yeah, so you can see it crashes here because, yeah, the format is not the same. So I need to go back and manually change this format here. And the formatting, whoops, the formatting worked. So that's a sign that it's actually correctly formatted. Okay, we get a crash here. Oh, sorry. No, this is not the correct. This is items, not tilemap. Sorry. Still get a crash. Oh, you know what? Yeah, so another thing that's not the same is I changed the way the tile is stored as well. Right, that's true. So actually in our other project, I have something called a tile source. So let's actually look at that. Yeah, here's the tile source, and this sort of replaced the tiles at the grid position. And I'm just gonna grab this and put it in here. So, and then instead of having these two, we actually have a source, which is a nullable tile source. And then, let's see here. Let's see, this tile set is going to be a string now instead. So that's basically a key into a container instead. And we still have grid position and solid. So yeah, but then we also want to basically have this source nullable. So I think what we do is we pass a source object, which is a nullable tile source instead. And then we use that. So, okay, that should be good. Okay, now we should have the same format as the other, as the JSON file that we export. And I should probably put this into like a separate package or something like that, that it gets updated. But yeah, they have slightly different functionalities as well. So I'll just keep doing it like this and we'll maybe tackle it in the future. But anyway, let's check the references to this one and update those as well. Okay, so maybe we don't actually have references to this anymore since we don't manually do the initialization. Let's just try and launch it and see. Okay, now we need to update some of these places that was using the tiles as well. So here's the draw tilemap function, and what we do here is we say if the tile. So yeah, we need to grab the index, we need to grab the tile, and if the tile.source is null, then we just continue. Otherwise, we will grab the source. And now we can use that to do these things here instead. And I believe here we have the tile. So we also need to grab the tile set. So we need the tile, well, we need a texture container. And we need to grab the texture from here. So this would be the container.get. And then we get source.tileset. And that should be good. And then we can pass that in here instead of the other thing. Okay. Okay. And there you go. Yeah, but it looks so. Yeah, so we load in the tile now, tile map, but it looks like the generation of the entities does not really work. So let's check out what's happening there at init level. So it should be done in here. Oh, you know what? Yeah, so another thing about the tile editor, I haven't implemented a way to say that something is solid or not yet. So actually, I think we need to just hard code in something here. So I think, yeah, we do have this bool here, but we don't really have a way of setting it from the tile editor yet. I think what we'll do is we'll just say that certain tiles are, like, depending on the source. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll go down here, the source maybe. Let's actually do this, isSolid. So either the source is null or the grid position is a certain thing. And I believe that we can just say, oh yeah, this is self.source. And then this one is going to be if the grid position x, I'm gonna say if the y is equal to 0 and x is, oops, less than, and I'll just check here on our tile map. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles, so it should be less than 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. If it's less than 5, or equal, yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, less than or equal to 5, then we consider it to be solid. Okay, and then I guess we'll call this get is solid. Okay. And then we have a function here is solid. So instead of checking this bool, we actually call get is solid. There. All right. Okay, interesting. Now everything is solid, basically. Okay, so interesting. Oh, this should be not equal to null, and then we have an and here. Okay, that's that was the issue, I think. There we go. Okay. Let me grab my gamepad here and move around. And you can see that, yeah, I enable the collision boxes, but we don't really see it for the ground. But the walls are generated correctly here. The ground seems to work. I can't jump, but yeah, and I can speak to this guy. And yeah, I still can't jump. That's a bug that's has been with us for a long time. Okay, but yeah, now it works. So yeah, that's great. So now we have the ability to make tile maps in an editor, and we can export them and import them into the game, and we can switch them out by just changing the file name, or we can add a bunch of them into the container and pick which one we want to use. All right, so that's gonna be it for this time. We made some progress here, so we can now import the animation as JSON. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions or anything regarding SIG programming, game development, feel free to post down below. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.